This article brings up a term that's going to be important in a bit for LCFF, or Local Control Funding Formula. You can kind of think of this as a benchmark to tell whether or not this school is well funded. So basically, an LCFF school is a school that's not really well funded. And what do you know, when you look at the data here, LCFF plus schools end up having higher admissions rates. The same goes here with UPP, or the unduplicated pupil percentage. It essentially just means the same thing, schools with a large number of high need students. And when you look at the data after the test blind movement, it's no surprise that you see that UPP number shoot up after the test blind policy went effective. Now, for me personally, it doesn't really strike me as a surprise because the UC system has always been very location dependent. Or in other words, you're not going to compare a student from a high income, very well funded high school to a student from a low income, very low funded high school. It's not a one to one comparison. Even on the UC website, they make it very clear that they compare you in context of your high school situation. Or in other words, if you're from a high school that isn't doing very well, but you're very high achieving, then you're going to stand out a lot more. Now, the gut reaction here is to feel like the UC system is kind of cheating or it's not really fair. I mean, the original poster up there says that Merritt long ago left the building. And I know it feels that way, but I think this post brings up something interesting, which is pretty close to UC's actual policy, where they're required to serve all students in the state, including low income disadvantaged students, and not just favor the wealthy and privileged. Now, whether or not you think this is fair, that's a totally separate issue, and I'm not qualified to speak on that because the roots for this go pretty deep into California law and policy. Because you got to remember that the way that these rules are set has a lot to do with the fact that UCs are funded by California tax dollars. So the UC system is pretty much obligated to serve every California high school. So they have to pick, some from each. But as for my practical advice for you freshmen, sophomore, juniors out there who are getting ready to apply for the UCs one day, hear me out. It is more important than ever to be unique. You don't want to be a cookie cutter student, the student who is chasing the same different clubs as everyone else, like NHS or Key Club, or just those random volunteering things. You need to stand out. You need to have a strong, compelling, and original story. When you're picking your activities and how you're going to frame yourself on your future application, start thinking about what's the unique and compelling angle that you will bring to a UC that no one else will bring. Now, I know that's a lot easier said than done, but that's the whole point of my content. I try to point you in that direction to be more unique, to go against the grain, be a little bit compelling.